Hi, my name is Adriane Tabag with IdeateTV, and I'm sitting here with Larry Thomas. You may recognize him from the show Seinfeld as the Soup Nazi. Larry, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Fantastic. Now, Larry, you have a book, an autobiography, correct?
Yes, it's and with recipes.
Awesome. So it's called Confessions of a Soup Nazi. And, well, I guess before we go into your book, let's first talk about your experience as the Soup Nazi. Like, how did you get to that role? And also, and let's just hear about your experience with that.
Well, I was in an acting class, and my acting teacher was threatening to kick me out of class unless I got a job in 6 weeks.
Oh, that's
And
a good
so,
acting teacher.
yeah. So I asked, Jeffrey Tambor was in the class, and he was on the Larry Sanders Show. And I asked him if he would introduce me to his casting director. And he did. And the casting director also was the casting director for Seinfeld. And so he remembered me and just called me in for the Soup Nazi. I did one pre-read, and then I got a call back, and I booked it. So that was one of those things.
Wow, nice. How do you feel about having such a strong presence and how this character that you've created is a great persona?
Well, yeah, I kind of feel like I got lucky. I just got a really cool character that I could play, and I think as the years go by, I think the Soup Nazi does kind of get cooler and cooler. Like, people think he's really hip, and everyone wants to be like him and so forth. So I really appreciate being tied to a character like that. That's cooler than myself.
Where did you gain a lot of inspiration with portraying this character too?
Well, I'm a New Yorker, and my father, who I only knew till I was about 6 years old, he was a restaurant owner and a chef. And I just saw how difficult, I have memories of how difficult it was for him, how hard he worked, how frustrated he used to be when he got home. And so I naturally, when they said, well, he's a food vendor called the Soup Nazi, and they want a Middle Eastern accent. So as far as the inspiration to make him like he was, I guess I just kind of thought back on like my dad, angry and frustrated and whatever. And the name, the Soup Nazi, made me feel like, well, he's obviously overly strict. And then as far as the accent goes, I had Lawrence of Arabia on a VHS tape, and I put it in, and I just went to a scene where Omar Sharif was saying, "You're drifting, Lawrence. Stop drifting. Be warned." And I just started imitating that over and over again. So essentially, the Soup Nazi is actually Omar Sharif.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
So that's kind of how I put it together.
Wow, that's fantastic. So let's hear a little bit about your book as the Confessions of a Soup Nazi.
Yes, an adventure in acting and cooking. And it's basically about my two life's passions, cooking and acting. And it started off as a joke because all my friends know that I'm a pretty good cook, and I've cooked for all my friends before. But fans kind of think that I'm the guy that the character was actually based on and that I own a restaurant. And people are always saying that. So my friends said, why don't you just write a cookbook? And I said, well, that won't be honest. I'd be fooling people because they think I'm someone else. And they said, well, who cares? Just write a cookbook. So I started writing, and then I was talking about how in college theater I had a chili recipe that the teachers really loved. So my fellow acting students would always tease me and say if I got cast in a show, they would say, well, your chili got cast in the show, because they thought that was the only reason I got cast in anything. So I started talking about that, and my friend, who's also my publisher and my publicist, she said, that's the format of your book, interweave stories about your acting life and the things you cook and why and whatever. So it's kind of like she likes to say, every recipe has a story and every story has a recipe. And there's like at least a recipe or two in every chapter. And so when I wrote the book, I had to do a lot of cooking for a year because I'd never written anything down.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, these recipes have to be written down. So I had to write everything down. Cooking for Jewish holiday meals because my grandmother was a great cook and her recipes were lost. So I had to reconstruct her recipes. So there's all kinds of different stuff. And then there's a lot of images from my acting career and from the things I'm talking about and stuff throughout the book. So it should be interesting because I don't think many people know the life of a journeyman actor. Like they read the fan magazines and they know what the superstars are up to. But they don't really know what that person that they see on TV in a guest spot, what their life is like, you know, what they have to go through to maybe get that job. So all that is in here as well.
Right. So this would be an excellent book for actors too, trying to break into the industry.
Yeah, or people that, foodies, you know, people that like to cook, because I talk a lot about food and, you know, I'm very opinionated when it comes to food, so that's in there. And I also just want to mention that my foreword is written by Jason Alexander.
Oh, cool.
I bumped into him one night just before going into printing, and he's such a nice guy. He goes, "What can I do for you?"
Oh,
And I said, "Well, you could, you know, write me a blurb for the back cover." So he did that, and then he also sent me a foreword and said, "If you need a foreword, here's that." So.
Oh, what a nice guy. Where can our viewers find your book to purchase?
You could find it if you go to my website, which is realsoupnazi.com, www.realsoupnazi.com. You could get it either signed or unsigned, or you could get it from barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. Yeah.
And is there also anything else that that you're working on? Any current projects?
I'm doing a couple of things. I just finished a movie that's going into the film festival circuit called Mind Over Mindy, and I play a schizophrenic psychiatrist.
Wow.
So it's lots of fun. And what else? I actually am began to be the spokesperson for the original Soup Man Soup Company. And basically those are the soups that the episode of Seinfeld was written about.
Wow.
And they're going into supermarkets. So if you go into your local supermarket, you'll probably find Tetra cartons of the original Soup Man. And I'm basically their spokesperson.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations with everything, and thank you so much for your time today.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Adriane Tabag with IdeateTV. Have a good day.